Rev up your engines! Today we're going to talk about this 2019 Mazda CX-5. Now CX-5 is actually Mazda's biggest selling vehicle worldwide now. They sell an awful lot of them. It was purchased used last year with like 20,000 miles. Now it's got 30-something thousand miles. They have had no problems at all. And as you can see, this baby was made in Japan. J. That's what you want. These are the best ones. And it's all-wheel drive. And as we look under the hood, nice size 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. Not some dinky little 1.5 or 1.3. It's a 2.5 liter. It's a nice size engine. But with the Skyactiv technology, sometimes they get almost 40 miles a gallon on a highway in this thing. That's why this is their big seller. The previous version, the CX-3, they weren't bad vehicles, but their big problem was they didn't get such hot gas mileage. This gets much better gas mileage with a bigger engine. That's what the Skyactiv technology does. It's rather complex. Now, they haven't had any particular problems with this model at all. They run, how they shift. Now, some of them, the paint peels off. This one, the paint's perfectly fine. But some of them, especially the kind of orangey ones, I got a customer that's trying to sue them because it's all pitted away. This particular one didn't have a problem, but if you are buying one of these used, and you're fanatic about paint like one of my customers was, look closely in the sun. Not a day like today, cloudy, on a sunny day. And if you see a bunch of pits, don't buy the car because they're not going to do anything about it. She tried to get them to repaint it. They wouldn't do anything about it. She bought it used. They just said, that's a used car. That's what happened. So look at that. But in terms of the car itself, these things are actually quite well made, especially at their price point. He bought it used for like 22 grand with 20,000 miles. All-wheel drive, nice engine. As we look inside, got a beautiful interior. Plenty of space in the back, and the transmission is an actual 6-speed automatic, not one of those horrible CVT transmissions. This has very quick downshifts for acceleration, usually pretty smooth upshifts. We'll find out when we road test it, but it's a pretty good transmission engine combination. It's not overly complex. It can still get pretty good gas mileage driving down a highway. So I mean, they can push 40 on this thing, and it's pretty good for all-wheel drive SUV. Be it a compact one still. Everybody's looking for SUVs. That's how this is their biggest seller, because it meets a lot of people's needs, and they haven't had any particular problems because Mazda actually, as far as I'm concerned, has been upping their quality over the years. I've had quite a few customers buy these things brand new, and I'd say to them, okay, why'd you buy a Mazda? Why didn't you buy a RAV4? They said, well, the RAV4 is $15,000 more if somebody smashed into one of my cars. And I had to buy a brand new car and say the wife wanted an SUV. If the RAV4 was 15 grand more than one of these, I gotta say, I would seriously consider buying one of these. That's a lot of money differential for cars that can last a long time, and they both get pretty much similar gas mileage on it. I don't particularly care for all-wheel drive myself. I'd get a front-wheel drive one. I don't live in the Rocky Mountains. Most people don't even need the all-wheel drive. And of course, as I've said for years, you buy an all-wheel drive vehicle, anytime you get a flat tire, if the tire's ruined, you got to buy 4 wheels because the all-wheel drive system is very complex. And it's assuming that all wheels are exactly the same size. So if you've got 3 worn ones and 1 brand new one, you blew a tire and put a brand new one, there's much a differential between the size of the new one and the old ones. It will actually wear the transmissions, the differentials out, because the one size tire versus the other on the same axle. And of course, with an all-wheel drive system like this, even if you do it on the front and you didn't affect the back, it's still going to affect the back because they're all related to how they're driving down the road. It's all run by computers. It's called Skyactiv technology, and it's great. But like I say, anytime you get a flat tire, time to buy 4 tires. Not like any modern car, doesn't have a key, got a keyless remote. Now we'll get inside. Solid sounding door, start her up. Of course it starts off, doesn't have that many miles on it. It's only 30-something thousand miles. Not even 30,000. 28,732 miles. And for some reason it's recording, so there, he's got a cam on just like me. You can't trust people these days. And I mean, it really is a nice setup. It's got the dual heat and air conditioning. It does have the electronic parking brake with auto hold. I'm not a fan of the electronic parking brakes, but be that as it may. And you can control everything on the dash here, play with the music, navigation, you name it. Like this, you can play with the volume here. You don't have to touch screens. You can turn the volume and everything here. That's a nice touch. And as you can see, it's a regular automatic, but if you want, you can shift it to manual mode. And now you see we're in first gear, second gear. You can shift it up and down if you want. Most people don't care. They just leave it and drive. And it's not cheap like a Subaru. Look, it's got actual temperature gauge, gas gauge, all the information you want. And you can play with the information here. Traction control, you can turn it on or off. And I like this, no sunroof. I think sunroofs are stupid, they just leak. I don't want a sunroof. Now we check out the back seat. It is a compact SUV. There's room here, but the driver's seat here is back the whole way, and you can see it's hitting my legs, and I'm not a total giant, so yeah, it is a compact SUV or a crossover. It's got a decent sized little trunk, and of course when you flip these down, it's more like a hatchback where you can fit all kinds of stuff inside. Let's get my fancy scan tool out and we see how it's doing. I don't expect any problems. It's only got 20-something thousand miles on it, and we'll do diagnostics. I can hear it beeping, that means it's doing its thing already. And here we go, it already read the VIN. And it knows it's CX-5, 2.5 automatic all-wheel drive. And it should do a nice topology scan. That ought to pop up pretty soon. It is cold today though, so it's gonna go a little slower. There's a topology scan, so here we go. It's gonna scan the whole car. We'll look around, you can see it. Wow, it scanned it fast. That was quick. It's only got one code, Smart Start Unit, anti-theft system transmitter. So it says there was a problem with the transmitter at some point in time, you know. Who cares about that? We'll just erase that. So let's start her up. Start her up, and we'll go to the PCM and look at live data. Remember, black is good, red is bad. Put her in gear to get better readings. Valve time is normal. Gives you the fuel rail pressure. No misfires. The equivalency ratio is 1.01, so it's only 1/100th off. Not bad, almost perfect. Oil pressure's normal. Oil temperature is good. Everything's good. That is all good. See, it's never had low oil pressure. You got a lot of information on these things for repairing them when they do get older. Break. But this one hasn't broken yet. He's had no problems whatsoever. He loves the vehicle. So let's take it for a spin. Backup camera's nice and bright. Makes it real easy backing up. Getting a little bit of rain. Well, this is all-wheel drive, so the wheels won't be sliding around. And this is one of these Mazda zoom, so you can have some fun with it. It's relatively high up in the ground, so it's got no problem going over that hump. But realize, this is a compact SUV, compact crossover, what do you want to call it? It has a relatively small wheelbase, so as we go over these bumps, you're going to feel them. It's a decent ride, but you're going to feel them because it's a short wheelbase. All these smaller SUVs have a bit of a rough ride when you're going on bumps. That's just the nature of a small wheelbase car that's relatively high up in the air. Here we go. Hey, it is zippy. Smooth shifting. This thing's a lot of fun to drive. Now, of course, you're not going to get 40 miles a gallon driving like that, but if you drive conservatively on the highway, you can. Strangely enough, it's rated for much lower gas mileage, but when they drive 60 on the highway, when it's 60 miles an hour, they've gotten up to 40 miles a gallon in this thing. That's why this is their biggest seller. The previous one was a bigger gas hog. This gets better gas mileage, and I mean, that 2.5 liter engine is a good engine. If you want to go faster, you can shift it to manual. We'll do that. It's in third gear now, so we'll put it in. It puts itself in first gear when you stop, which is kind of cool. Sounds great. We'll see what it's like to hill shifting ourselves. All right, now we got it in first gear. Reasonably crisp shifts when you're doing it manually, and you see, even though I'm not doing it, when it comes to a stop, it automatically goes to first gear because it doesn't want you to start off in third gear. It goes back to 1 automatically. We'll put it back in drive. Nice crisp shifts. That's why I like this 6-speed automatic versus a CVT where it would have just gone and wouldn't pick up as well. It is much more fun driving it with an actual 6-speed automatic transmission. And as we roll down the road, I gotta say, handle's pretty good. We'll pop back in here, see how it corners. Nice smooth cornering. No under or oversteering. It's a fun little vehicle to drive. A lot of reason people buy this because of the space. Look at the headroom. These things have a lot more room than a RAV4 does. There is a lot of room inside of these. Mazda pretty much hit a home run when they decided to mass produce these. Like I say, it is their largest seller worldwide every year. I think last year they sold like 600-something thousand of these things. So there it is. Now you know a little bit more about these CX-5s. I'm impressed. I can understand why so many people buy them. Now the other day, the guy brought me the Volkswagen comparable to this, which is the Volkswagen Tiguan, which is a German combination of tiger and iguana. I can't figure that out at all. But be that as it may, the Volkswagen was pretty much in the same price range as this thing was, and burnt oil because it had that horrible 4-cylinder 2-liter Audi Volkswagen turbo engine. These engines, 2.5 liter, no problems. The Tiguan was turbocharged, which is probably one of the reasons it burned oil. Hey, if you're looking for a crossover SUV of this size, I'd say definitely go look at one of these. Compare the prices of the various ones. And if, like some of my customers, they said, well, you know, that RAV4 was 15 grand more than this was, and they bought this, and they've been totally happy with them. Other than one woman who bought a used one, the paint was coming off. Do look at the paint if you're looking at a used one, but I gotta say, with the 6-speed automatic in that engine, pretty decent car. It gets really good gas mileage. And hey, everybody's looking for SUVs. You might check one of these out. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.